Good morning, Chavra. Today is the 26th of Nissan. We're going to start with counting the Omer on page 137 in the Siddur. Today is the 11th day. Hayoim Achad Osar Yoim. Say it together. Say it together. Hayoim. No. Hayoim. Say it together. Hayoim Achad Osar Yoim. Shehein Shavua Echad. Ba'arba'a Yomim LaOmer. Today is 11 days, which is 1 week and 4 days of the Omer. Okay, now in the Tanya, we're in middle of chapter 42, Perik Membeis, and we're on page 98 in your Chayenu. Shalom, you got it? Okay, in today's lesson, so now we're learning about Avas Hashem, and we have to remember constantly that there's somebody, not somebody, Hashem is not somebody, but there's something that's watching and listening, and an eye that sees and an ear that hears. Just like there's always cameras everywhere. Shalom, today there's cameras everywhere watching, and you never know if there's audio that's picking up your conversation also, so you have to be very careful what people say in here. So imagine if the Eibusher can see everywhere you are. It doesn't have to be a camera. The Eibusher is watching you and listening to what you're saying. Be very careful what you say and what you do. And by the way, the Eibusher has like X-ray listening and seeing what your brain is thinking. That's one thing that the cameras can't necessarily do yet. Soon they're going to figure out how to know what you're thinking also. But right now, the Eibusher is the only one that knows what you're thinking. Okay, so the Eibusher's knowledge of every detail of creation can be comprehended, obviously, through our way of thinking, which is not the true full way, but we could use it by way of an analogy of a mashal, like our knowledge of ourselves. Every part of yourself, you know, we always say the back of our hand, right? We know what the back of our hand looks like more than anyone else can know what we look like. So one obvious difference, of course, is that Hashem's being remains unaffected whatsoever by that knowledge. Although he has no bodily likeness. Lady, what's it called? An anthropomorphism. An anthropomorphism, that's right. Anthropomorphically, Hashem doesn't have a hand that he knows the back of his hand. Hashem doesn't have a mouth that to speak, but it's al derech zeh. Okay. So how can we possibly say that Hashem has an eye that watches us or an ear that hears what we're saying? Obviously, he doesn't. Hare adrav hakol gol v'yadu lefano b'yeses eis leinkates merias ha'ayin u'shmias ha'oizen al derech mashal. On the contrary, meaning this is the very reason that everything is revealed and known to Hashem. For example, we're saying sight. If we say that the Eibusher sees, then if you hide, then the Eibusher can't see. So it's not really sight. It's that the Eibusher just knows what you're doing. He already knows. He knows what you're going to do. He knows what you're doing, and he knows what you did. So when we say that Hashem doesn't possess any bodily likeness, it means that he's not bound by things that our physical bodies might be bound by. Physical eyes can only see physical things, but they can't see spiritual things. Hashem's not limited to any of those things. So by way of illustration, just like Hashem sees, quote unquote, supposedly, and hears, and the fact that everything is revealed to Hashem and is known by Hashem, or like a man who knows and feels within himself everything that's happening within his 248 organs, such as cold and heat. If I put some cold on the back of your neck, you're like, ooh, it feels cold. A person who feels heat in his toenails, for example, as if when they're being touched by fire, and also their essence and substance, meaning not only is a person aware of all that's happening to his organs, but he feels the organs themselves. I once heard someone say, how do you know you're alive? How do you know you're alive? Because you feel pain somewhere. If you feel pain, you know you're alive. If you don't feel anything, if you lay down, you're like, I don't feel myself. Wait a second, am I alive? All that is affected in or by them is known to the people and to the person himself, and is sensed in his brain. You don't need your eyes or your ears to see what's happening in a certain part of your body. You know, if something's hurting you, you know where it's hurting. You don't need to see it or hear it. Al derech mashal yedei HaKadosh Baruch Hu kol hanifal b'chol hanivroim el yonim taptonim liyez kulam mushpoim imenu yisbarach k'mashikosov ki mimcha hakoil. In a similar way, but of course, I like to say it's the same thing but different. Same thing but different. By way of an analogy, Hashem knows all that befalls all of His creation. Everything is a part of Hashem. So anything that happens, it's like if we sense something in our toe, Hashem senses something in creation. It's Him. It's all Him. So He knows everything that's going on in the higher worlds and the lower worlds, because they receive their flow of energy from Hashem. The pasuk says, "Ki mimcha hakoil," everything comes from you. So just as the brain, which is the source of life for the entire body, knows what's going on within the body, so too anything that's happening anywhere in creation, automatically Hashem knows. He doesn't have to see it or think about it. And this is the meaning of the pasuk, and no creature is hidden from you. Inasmuch as everything comes from Hashem, and Hashem's constantly creating it, so He knows. Rambam speaks as a philosopher and said, and it's been agreed upon by other Kabbalists, that knowing Himself, as it were, Hashem knows all created beings. The source of existence is Hashem. However, Hashem provides creation with life in a different way than which the soul, the neshama, provides life to the body. The neshama must garb itself in the body in order to provide it with life. And by doing so is affected by the body. Hashem, however, is of course not subject to change when He provides life for all of creation. As in all analogies, you can always find holes in it. And when it comes to analogies that describes how Hashem acts and does and this and that, it never really works. We just try. We try to find a mashal to help us allow us to understand something. We're supposed to think of Hashem and Hashem's greatness in order to conjure up Yiras Hashem, to fear Hashem. So we have to come up with a mashal, but it doesn't mean that it always works. Doesn't mean that it's a perfect mashal. When it comes to the human soul, even when it comes to the nefesh chayunis or the nefesh sichlis, it's affected by the events which transpire with the body and its pain by reason of the rationale of the divine soul being actually clothed within the physical body, meaning the neshama which provides life, which provides a life for the body, which in turn is clothed in the body itself. But when it comes to the Eibishter, Hashem is not affected whatsoever by any change that happens in the world. You could say, chas v'shalom, a person has an infection in the foot has to be taken off. There's a whole change that happens. You feel it, you sense it, now it has to be removed. With the Eibishter, whatever happens in the world, any violation, the Eibishter doesn't change no matter what happens. He's not affected by the existence or anything that takes place. Nothing can affect a change in the Eibishter. In order to try to help us understand this concept, at least to a certain extent, So the scholars, the Chachamim of the Kabbalah have already treated it at length and discussed it there in their books. You can go look it up. Kol Yisrael, Maminim b'nei Maminim b'lishum, Kakiras Seichel Anushi. The fact is that as a Yid, we believe in Eibishter. We believe that even though it doesn't seem to make sense to us, we believe that the Eibishter is the same, the way the world, before the world was created and after the world was created and whatever takes place in the world, the Eibishter doesn't change. And the pasuk that we just quoted, you were the same before the world was created, continues and it says you were the same since the world has been created. So every Yid, at least we try, we don't necessarily understand it, but we believe that the creation of the world does not create any change in Hashem whatsoever. Keniskele b'Perek Chaf was discussed already in the 20th chapter of Tanya. So why are we doing all this? Why are we trying to even figure the Eibishter out? Like, well, even on a lower level. Why? Because when we think of the Eibishter, it brings us to Yiras Hashem. It brings us to the fear of Hashem. And that's what the Alter was discussing in this Perek, that God's very, very much aware of every single thing that's happening in your life. He knows exactly what you're doing. He even knows what you're going to do. That doesn't mean that you don't have free choice to decide what you're going to do. The Eibishter knows what you're going to do. He knows what you did. And he knows what you're thinking right now. But make sure you're thinking holy, pure thoughts. Your speech is the proper speech. And the actions, of course, have to be the way a Yid should act. Okay, Chavra, that's it for today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.